Good evening, everyone. So, yesterday's class we started with how GST is formed, and we have seen few aspects related to that. I asked you to remember total 4 points. Point number 1, all indirect taxes except all indirect taxes levied by central government except customs duty got subsumed into GST. Second point, additional customs duties CVD and SAD also got subsumed into GST. What is the purpose of CVD and SAD? To counterbalance excise duty and to counterbalance sales tax. Next, we have seen specified indirect taxes levied by state government got subsumed into GST, and then next point we have seen indirect taxes levied by local authorities not got subsumed into GST. What are those specified indirect taxes levied by say state government that got subsumed? Total 6. Luxury tax, advertisement tax, entertainment tax, next lottery and betting tax, next value added tax, one more, already said advertisement tax, purchase tax, also called as entry tax or octroi. Okay, so these are the 6. Then I told you about dual GST model. What is dual GST model means? Parallelly central government and state government levy GST on the common tax base, that is known as dual GST model. For example, when you go to a restaurant and you eat food for 500 rupees, you will pay 2.5% CGST and 2.5% SGST. So that is known as dual GST model. Is it clear? And why dual GST model is incorporated in India rather than a single tax model? Income tax, as I told you, is a single tax model. What is the reason? If you see, central government alone, if they collect, then all the state government should be at the mercy of the central government for the tax revenue. Otherwise, how they can spend? There should be a kind of liberty available to the state governments, so they cannot always depend on the central government. And central government also may make this as a political issue by ensuring that only those states where their government is present, they will be giving funding. Are you understanding? So due to that reason, always this issue may be there. See, it's not about BJP or it's not about Congress. Every time, let it be Congress also coming to the ruling in center, maybe some states where Congress is not there, so definitely they may not be giving enough money to those states for the welfare of the people. So that's why states also should be able to generate some revenue. That's the reason why, to protect this fiscal federalism. As you know that India is a federal country wherein both central government and state government has powers, duties and responsibilities towards its people. So due to that reason, they have brought in dual GST model. This dual GST model was already present in 2 countries, Brazil and Canada, and that they have incorporated in India. Okay, you can see that. What is dual GST model and why dual GST is required in India? Dual GST model refers to levy of GST, underline simultaneously by center and states, simultaneously by center and states on a common tax base. Dual GST is required as India is a federal country where both center and states have been assigned powers to levy and collect the taxes through appropriate legislation. I told you India is a federal country because of that. A dual GST is designed keeping in mind the constitutional requirement of fiscal federalism, and India adopted this dual GST model from which countries? Brazil and Canada. Okay, then next we should know what are the goods or services which are coming into GST. First we have seen how GST got created and what is the model of GST we discussed. Now let's see what are the goods or services which are brought into the GST and which are not covered under GST. You might have heard of that there is no GST on alcoholic liquor. Have you heard this? Yes. So in many movies also, our Vijay Anna has said in one movie also that there is no GST on alcohol. Is it good or bad? What is your view? Really, there is no GST on alcohol. Really. So what's your view? Is it good or bad? Correct. It is good only. In what way? Because there are other indirect taxes which are being levied on alcoholic liquor, like the excise duty levied by the state government, state excise duty, central sales tax and value added tax are there, which is close to 50%. On liquor, the state excise duty, CST and VAT close to 50% is there. So definitely if it comes into GST, the maximum rate of GST, effective rate of GST is 28%. So which means the price of the liquor is going to come down. Then the consumption will increase. So is it good or bad? Definitely it is bad. So therefore alcoholic liquor is not at all brought into the ambit of GST, and there is a reason for that. Previously also alcoholic liquor was subject to state levies only. Central government was not having power to collect 1 rupee GST also on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Completely it will be collected by state government only from the beginning. So state excise duty will go to state government. Central sales tax, even though levied by central government, but it will go to the state government, and value added tax anyhow levied and collected by the state government. So as per 7th schedule to the constitution, the power to levy tax is given under 7th schedule to the constitution. As per 7th schedule to the constitution, we have union list, state list and concurrent list, wherein tax on alcohol was kept under state list, which means central government cannot collect the taxes. So that is also one more reason that if alcoholic liquor comes into GST, automatically dual GST is there, means center also will collect, state also will collect. So due to that reason they kept it outside the ambit of GST. And in future, is there any probability that it will come into the ambit of GST? Never, never. Always it is excluded from the ambit of GST. It will never come into the ambit of GST. Is that clear? So what is that? First product that we have seen, alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Along with alcoholic liquor for human consumption, they have given some more goods also, which is required to prepare alcohol, required to manufacture alcohol, called as rectified spirits. Rectified spirits are used in manufacture of alcohol. It's like a raw material, and these rectified spirits and undenatured ethyl alcohol, these two are the raw material used to make alcohol. And as alcoholic liquor for human consumption is excluded from supply, which means that person will buy this denatured ethyl alcohol and rectified spirits. The one who is manufacturing alcohol will buy these two, then on that there will be GST na? Are you getting this? So if only alcoholic liquor is excluded from the ambit of GST, these two products which are used to manufacture alcohol may be subjected to GST. So due to that reason, they have now given the relief on these two products also. What are the two products? Along with alcohol, they have given exclusion from the list. Undenatured ethyl alcohol and rectified spirits. These two are used in manufacture of alcohol. But this is an amendment, Wide Finance Act 2024, and this is not applicable for May 25 exam, but it will be applicable for September 25 exam. Okay, because the effective date of this applicability is from 1st November 2024. So I told you all amendments up to 31st October only will be applicable for May exam. As it is applicable from 1st November, so it will be applicable for September exams. Is it clear? So I will show you that information here. You can see page number 11. Please look into page number 11. Page number 11, position of goods under GST after implementation of GST in comparison to the earlier system. In that you can see central excise duty is not there on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, but state excise duty is there, CST is there, VAT is there. GST, no, the exclusion is permanent. It will never come into the ambit of GST. Along with alcoholic liquor, what are the two products that you can see? Denatured extra neutral alcohol, then rectified spirit used for manufacture of alcohol. These two goods, okay, denatured extra neutral alcohol, and you can remember DENA, denatured extra neutral alcohol, DENA, okay. Then rectified spirits, usually liquor is called as spirits like that. Recently also in Tamil Nadu, in one village, lot of people consumed this denatured neutral alcohol and rectified spirits, and they died because they don't know how to process it properly. What do they do in the village? They will boil that. These are the chemicals. They need to boil properly. It should come at that particular level. Then only it will be called as a product. So that's why they will give license to manufacture liquor. Not every person can manufacture. It is prohibited. It is prohibited because that may turn out to be harmful when we consume it at that stage. So lot of people in that village, they don't know, and it is cheaper. Actually liquor is costlier because liquor will have lot of duties, etc. and all, and it is reserved only for few industries. But this raw material will be available, so these people only will buy and they will start making the local liquor. So this local liquor is so dangerous that sometimes the people may also die. That is the raw material which I am talking about. But you can see in the footnote, this is applicable with effect from 1/11/2024. You write there. So for September 25 exam, this is for September 25 exam. If you are appearing for May 25 exam, you need to remember only alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So if you are appearing for May 25, just remember this, alcoholic liquor for human consumption. If it is for September 25, extra two more, okay, the DNA and rectified spirits used in manufacture of alcohol. Then next, second product you can see, petroleum products. Whether petroleum products are also outside the ambit of GST? Yes. Total 5 petroleum products. What are they? You can see in the footnote in the same page. Crude oil, petrol. Petrol is also known as motor spirit. Okay. Actually, human spirit is alcohol. Motor spirit is petrol. Got it? And next, high speed diesel, not light diesel, high speed diesel. Diesel, there are two varieties. Light diesel is there, high speed diesel is there. But which one is excluded? High speed diesel. Whether light diesel is covered under GST? Yes, yes. High speed diesel. Then aviation turbine fuel and natural gas. These are the 5 petroleum products. Come on, tell me what are the 5 petroleum products? Crude oil, petrol, diesel. But diesel, high speed diesel. Then aviation turbine fuel, which is used in the flights, fuel for flights. Then last, natural gas. Natural gas is used in vehicles and all, autos, cabs and all will run with CNG, that is called as a natural gas. These are the 5. And apart from this, all other petroleum products are covered under GST, but these 5 petroleum products are excluded under GST. Sir, will it come into the ambit of GST? Yes, possible. It will be coming into the ambit of GST. Right now it is excluded temporarily, as and when the council decides. Council means central government and state government together. Whenever they decide, it will come into the ambit of GST. Until that point of time, it is excluded from the ambit of GST. Got it? So then, when it is excluded from the ambit of GST, what are the existing duties that will be there? You see there, on manufacture you need to pay central excise duty. On sale you need to pay CST and VAT. What is the difference you can find between liquor and this? In case of liquor, the exclusion is permanent. And in case of this petroleum products, the exclusion is temporary. In case of liquor, so central excise duty is not there, state excise duty is there. But in case of petroleum products, we have central excise duty. Otherwise, CST and VAT will be same in both the cases. Agreed? Then next, look into third product. And actually speaking, state governments are so happy for not bringing petroleum products into GST. You know why? You go to any person on the road and you ask them, petrol price is increasing. You know that, yes sir, petrol price is increasing. It is 105 rupees, 108 rupees, like that and all they will be telling. And you ask them, why do you think the petrol price is increasing? They will say, Modi ji sir. Modi ji, Ambani, Adani sir. Because of them only the petrol price is increasing sir. Arey yaar, it's not only the central government but also the state government. State government is also adding. So CST VAT will go to state government, central excise duty will go to central government. Now state government enjoys this name with the cost of central government. So no one is blaming the state government, everyone blames the central government only for increasing the petrol price. So this liberty they get. So that's the reason why they are so happy and they are not taking a decision to bring petroleum products into the ambit of GST. Is it clear? Then next, tobacco and tobacco products. Tobacco and tobacco products is covered under GST, but it is also covered under central excise duty, which means we need to pay GST in addition to the old indirect tax central excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products, because they wanted to collect as much taxes and duties as they can on tobacco products, thereby the consumption will be curtailed. So when the price of the product increases, usually the demand will come down. So that's the reason why they are trying to do this. But actually speaking, this is not correct. Just because you wanted to levy more duties and all, you levy and you think that the people will stop consuming. No, it is not going to happen, because these are something which are price inelastic. Whether any person came to you and complained, you know, cigarette price increased, that's why I stopped smoking. No, whether cigarette price increases or decreases, the pleasure what they get in consuming the tobacco, they will not stop that. So just government is trying to make advantage at the cost of the people, at the health of the people. Okay. So we have central excise duty as well as GST. Apart from these three, on all other goods, there is only GST. So there is no old indirect taxes. Got it? Now on two products, two set of products, there is no GST. What are those two set of products? Alcoholic liquor and petroleum products. And that's why these two are called as non-taxable supplies. Non-taxable supplies. Is it supplies or yes? It is supply. But it is non-taxable, means you don't have to pay GST. Got it? You can see that below, non-taxable supplies under GST. So tell me, what are non-taxable supplies under GST? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, and for the next attempt it will be two more. DENA, denatured extra neutral alcohol and rectified spirit. Then petroleum products, total 5. And whether services are covered under the ambit of GST? Yes, almost every service is covered under the ambit of GST. Few are taxable, few are exempted. So taxable means we need to pay GST, exempted means we are not required to pay GST, but they are covered under the levy. And right now it is exempted. In future, if the exemption is withdrawn, we need to pay the tax. You understood the difference? So the difference between taxable and exemption is that exempted means you don't have to pay GST. What if exemption is withdrawn? We are required to pay GST on that. But non-taxable means there is no levy at all, and they have to be brought into the ambit of GST only by the parliament, by amending the act, etc. Got it? Now look into one table below. You need to answer whether GST is applicable or not on these goods. Number 1, kerosene oil, whether GST is applicable? Yes or no? Yes. Why? Why GST is applicable on kerosene oil? Because is it a petroleum product or not a petroleum product? Not a petroleum product. What are the 5 petroleum products? Crude oil, petrol, high speed diesel, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. Is kerosene oil there in the list? Is kerosene oil there in the list? No, kerosene oil is different. So due to that reason, it is covered under GST. So write down the justification: not a petroleum product. Not a petroleum product. Then cooking wine. What about cooking wine? Whether GST is applicable or not applicable? Whether cooking wine has alcohol? No. Cooking wine is not an alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So cooking wine will not have any alcohol. Just because wine name is there, don't drink it, okay? So it will not have any kind of alcohol. So whether it is chargeable to GST? Yes. Reason: not an alcohol product. Not an alcohol product. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, covered under GST? Yes or no? Yes, covered under GST. Why? In the petroleum products, natural gas is there, but LPG is not there. Natural gas is different from LPG. LPG is your cooking gas, which is used at house. So next time when your parents are paying money, bill and all, you see gas bill. In the gas bill there will be GST. Okay, so GST is payable on LPG. So again, it is not a petroleum product. It is not a petroleum product. Due to that reason, GST will be applicable. Beer, GST applicable or not applicable? Not applicable, because it is an alcohol product. Then cough syrup containing alcohol. So beer will have a small percentage of alcohol. Even then it is alcohol product. So no GST. What about cough syrup containing alcohol? Even though cough syrup contains alcohol, but it's a medicinal preparation. It is not an alcohol product. Suppose if a person could not find alcohol, will he go to medical shop and buy cough syrup quarter and he will drink? No, correct. And the kind of alcohol that is present in the cough syrup is harmful for his health. So it's not like you cannot drink water and all like that. Cough syrup gone completely, so he may die also, or his mind may be dead, his brain may be dead also. Sometimes too much of cough syrup is so dangerous, and that's why usually doctors will prescribe like 5 ml depending upon your age, etc. and all. They will determine this much ml only you need to drink. So heavy dose if you drink also, what will happen? Sometimes you sleep for 18 hours, 20 hours and all. Okay, so it happened for me, like I got cold. Next day it was class, and I wanted to get it soon, because during cold now we will not be able to take the class properly and all. And the doctor said 5 ml, I have consumed 10 ml. No, so that usually we believe now if we drink more we will get rectified soon, like that. So 10 ml I drank, and I slept crazily. That next day morning 9 o'clock is the class. I got up only at 1 p.m. So my wife is waking me up, I am not getting up, and I am completely drowsy, and it happens. That's the effect of the liquor. So quarter and all, 10 ml itself is this much, means quarter means you can understand. So it is a medicinal preparation. Yes, it may contain alcohol, but it is not classified as an alcohol product. It is classified as a medicinal product, medicinal preparation. So due to that reason, GST is applicable. Medicinal preparation. Sir, whether GST is there on medicines also? Yes, GST is there on medicines as well. We have to pay GST on medicines as well. However, if the medicines are sold to inpatients, we have some exemption that we will learn in exemptions chapter. So usually patients who are admitted in the hospital, so for them if the medicines are sold, it is exempted. For the outpatients who go there for consulting and all, for them if the medicines are sold, it will be taxable. But that aspect we will learn in exemptions chapter. Then engine oil. Is engine oil covered under GST? Yes. Engine oil, lubricating oil, all these are not petroleum products. So therefore GST is applicable. Not a petroleum product. Not a petroleum product. That's why GST is applicable. Then spirit used in manufacture of alcohol. Yes or no? So if you are writing for May exam, you write it as yes. Okay. For May exam, for September 25 or Jan 26. For May exam, the answer is yes. But for next attempt, it will be no. So why? Because this with effect from 1/11 only, they just excluded from the ambit of GST. But up to that point of time, it was covered under the ambit of GST. Okay. So now it is treated as petroleum product, like now it is treated as alcoholic product. But for May exam, it was not treated as alcoholic product. Accordingly, you change the justification. Okay. Then you understood now this. So we are moving on to the types of GST. So just come back. We will see what are the various types of GSTs that we have. Page number 8. Page number 8. So we have total these 4 types of GST: CGST, SGST, IGST and UTGST. What's the full form of CGST? Central Goods and Services Tax. Who will levy? Name itself there. Central government. SGST, full form? State Goods and Services Tax. Who will levy? State government. IGST, Integrated Goods and Services Tax. Who will levy? Central government. Okay, it is levied by central government. So central government shall levy. And UTGST, who will levy UTGST? Again, UTGST is also levied by central government only. Why central government? Because union territories are under whose control? Central government control, due to that reason. Okay. So CGST levied by central government, SGST levied by state government, IGST and UTGST is levied and collected by central government. On what transaction? CGST is on intrastate supply, whereas SGST is also on intrastate supply, but IGST is on interstate, whereas UTGST is also on intrastate supply. Okay. Now we need to understand what is the difference between intrastate supply and interstate supply, because accordingly it is being divided. So what is the meaning of intrastate and interstate supplies? Why we need to determine intrastate, interstate? To know which tax is applicable, because in some case CGST, SGST is there, some case IGST is there. So for that reason we need to know what is intra and what is inter. We have to see 2 factors. First of all, location of supplier we need to see, and second, place of supply. Depending upon location of supplier and place of supply, we can determine whether it is an intrastate supply or interstate supply. Supply is the taxable event under GST. What is the meaning of taxable event? One event on happening of which you need to pay GST. What is the taxable event under excise? Manufacture. What is the taxable event under customs duty? Import or export. What is the taxable event in case of service tax? Provision of services. Like that, there will be one event. In income tax, this is only called as basis of charge. When there is a transfer of capital asset, then only the capital gain will come. Correct. Whenever there is a profits and gains for any business or profession carried out by the assessee during the previous year, then only PGBP will come. Correct. Only when there is a property which is being given on let out, then only house property income will come. Like that, there is a basis of charge. In income tax, in GST or indirect tax, we call it as taxable event. The event on happening of which we need to pay tax is known as taxable event. So what is the taxable event in case of GST? Supply. Supply is the taxable event. So whenever supply takes place, we need to pay GST. This supply is divided into 2. Intrastate supply and interstate supply. So what are the 2 factors I asked you to check? Location of supplier and place of supply. Location of supplier is something which is easy to understand. Location of supplier means where the supplier is located. But what is place of supply? Place of supply is a technical aspect. Depending upon the transaction, the place of supply will change. So in case of goods, generally ending point of the goods will be taken as place of supply. And in case of services, the location of recipient will be taken as place of supply. Like that, depending upon the transaction, the place of supply will change. If you see the index, we have a separate chapter on place of supply. There we will be learning for what transaction, what is the place of supply. You understood? One separate chapter is there, place of supply, like that. Okay. So until that point of time, you need to know the general meaning. What is the general place of supply? For goods, what is the general place of supply? Ending point. What is the general place of supply for services? Location of recipient. Can you remember this? For goods, what is the place of supply? Usually ending point. For services, usually location of recipient. But is it the only place of supply? No, it may change. It may change depending upon the situation to situation, it will change. Now come back to the previous page. See the previous page. So what is the meaning of intrastate supply? If the location of supplier and place of supply is in the same state or same union territory, location of supplier and place of supply is in the same state or same union territory, then it is intrastate supply. Then from this, can you tell me what is interstate supply? Try. Two different states or two different union territories or state and a union territory. Is it clear? Easy. Location of supplier and place of supply is in two different states, two different union territories or a state and a union territory, then it is interstate supply. Got it? Now, can you tell me again what is intrastate supply? Location of supplier, place of supply, same state or same union territory. And if it is same state, we need to pay CGST plus SGST. If it is same union territory, we need to pay CGST plus UTGST. Understood here? So if it is state, CGST, SGST. If it is union territory, CGST, UTGST. If it is interstate supply, what is the type of GST that is applicable? IGST. Now you need to know this place of supply. What is the usual place of supply? Write down below. Generally place of supply, POS means place of supply. In case of goods is ending point of goods, and in case of services, it is location of recipient. Generally, place of supply in case of goods is ending point of goods, and in case of services, it is location of recipient. Then tell me what are the union territories that we have, because if the supply takes place within union territory, also it is intrastate. Na? What are the various union territories that we have? Try. Okay, I am just writing whatever union territories that you are telling. So, union territory, Pondicherry, okay, Pondicherry, next, Chhattisgarh, okay, Chhattisgarh, next, Delhi, okay, next, Jammu and Kashmir, not okay, Jammu and Kashmir. Along with Jammu and Kashmir, we have Ladakh. Jammu and Kashmir is now divided into two union territories. One is union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, another is union territory of Ladakh. Okay, next, Andaman. Next, Andaman and Nicobar. Try. Lakshadweep. You would have heard, na, Lakshadweep. Then one more, Daman, Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Actually, these were two separate union territories, Daman, Diu, Dadra, Nagar Haveli. Now they have merged it into one single union territory. These are the 5 union territories which are under the central government completely. These are called as union territory without state legislature. Union territory without state legislature. Okay. So what are the 5 union territories without state legislature? Chandigarh, Ladakh, Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Daman, Diu, Dadra, Nagar Haveli. This will be completely under whose control? Central government. And what is the type of GST that will be applicable in this case? UTGST Act is applicable in this case. It is not SGST Act. It is UTGST that will be applicable. Got it? Whereas these 3 union territories are called as union territory with state legislature. Union territory with state legislature. union territory with state legislature. And what is the type of GST that is applicable in this case? Yes, GST Act. Reason, these three, even though are union territories, but they are given partial statehood, means it will operate like a state only. We have elections and we have assembly. Recently also Jammu and Kashmir elections have happened, you would have observed. And the mistake that they have did, only mistake that they have did, that the central government did, was that they should have made both the union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and union territory of Ladakh as complete union territories without state legislature. Okay. Now what has happened? They made one as with state legislature, one as without state legislature. And that which they made as with state legislature, elections were held. In the elections, BJP lost and the other government, they have formed, and they passed a resolution in the assembly that to roll back Article 370. So which means that, so again Jammu and Kashmir, they want to make it like a state, not as a union territory. Is it clear? So these are the constitutional errors. Sometimes it will happen. They should not have done that, but they did. And now of course, again it should come into the parliament and the decision needs to be taken by the parliament, etc. But what I am trying to convey, because basically any amendment, constitutional amendment, can be done only by way of parliament. That too they should be having like 3/4 majority and all, then only they will be able to do. So that is not going to happen in the near future, either for BJP or for Congress, etc. and all. But I am just giving you this idea as to it will work like a state assembly. Even Delhi, even though union territory, but we have Delhi, even Delhi chief minister, for all bad reasons we heard Arvind Kejriwal. And Pondicherry, our union territory which is within the Tamil Nadu, even though it is a union territory, but it will be considered as a state only, because we have chief minister for Pondicherry and cabinet of ministers, etc. and all. Got it? So what are the three union territories with state legislature? Pondicherry, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir. So which act will be applicable there? SGST. For other 5 union territories, it will be UT-GST Act. Is it clear? Then, so come back to this, say this information. So intrastate supply, interstate supply. Now you got the clarity, and I have given about these union territories, etc. in page number 5. You can see that. In page number 5 I have seen, we have Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir are union territories, and constitutionally they were given partial statehood. On account of this, CGST, SGST is applicable to these 3 union territories. The other union territories are Andaman and Nicobar, Chandigarh, Dadra, Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, then Lakshadweep and Ladakh, for which UT-GST Act will be applicable. Got it? I gave the information. Now, see this. In the types of GST, you can find one information. IGST collected by whom? IGST levied and collected by whom? Central government. But we have dual GST model that is protected in case of intrastate. In case of intrastate, if it is within the state, we have CGST, SGST. CGST will go to center, SGST will go to state. If it is union territory, as union territory is under the control of center, that's why CGST, UT-GST, but separation is there. But in case of interstate IGST, completely it is collected by central government, which is defeating the basic purpose of dual GST model. That's why they are telling 50% of the IGST should not be retained by central government, they should be giving it to the consuming state based on place of supply. For example, listen carefully, location of supplier Tamil Nadu, place of supply Karnataka, location of supplier Tamil Nadu, place of supply Karnataka. So it's an interstate supply. So I will pay IGST to central government. What central government will do? 50% they will retain, and remaining 50% they will be giving it to which state? Tamil Nadu or Karnataka? Karnataka, based on place of supply. So consuming state they will give, they will not give it to the originating state, they will be giving it to the consuming state. That's the reason why GST is called as a destination based consumption tax. Got it? Why GST is called as destination based consumption tax? Because out of the IGST revenue, 50% is shared with consuming state, 50% is shared with consuming state. As 50% is shared with consuming state, that's the reason why we call GST is a destination based. Please make note. GST is a destination based consumption tax. Destination based consumption tax. GST is a destination based consumption tax. Got it? Now, see the next page. There is one illustration. Location of supplier, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Place of supply is also Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. What is the nature of supply? Intra or inter? Intra. And what is the type of GST? CGST plus SGST or CGST plus UTGST? SGST, because Jammu and Kashmir will be Union Territory with state legislature. So SGST. Then next. Location of supplier, Union Territory of Ladakh, and place of supply also Union Territory of Ladakh. Intra or inter? Intra. Intra-state. And what is the type of GST? CGST plus UTGST. Then third, location of supplier, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and place of supply, Union Territory of Ladakh. What is the nature of supply? Intra or inter? Inter. Inter. One state and one Union Territory or two Union Territories, it is inter. What is the type of GST? IGST. Will be shared 50% with anyone or completely retained by central government? No. 100% retained by central government. Why? See the consuming state. Is there a consuming state? See the place of supply. Is there a consuming state? No. Ladakh is under whose control? Central government. So they will not distribute to anyone. So 100% to central government. 50% sharing will not be there. Reverse. Reverse. Location of supplier, Arunachal Pradesh. Place of supply, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Is it intra or inter? Inter. So what is the type of GST? IGST. Will there be 50% sharing? Yes. Because see the place of supply. Place of supply is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which is like a state. So as there is a consuming state, that's the reason why 50% will be distributed. So 50% to Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Understood here? Then this I told you already. So conversion of state of Jammu and Kashmir into Union Territory. So Article 370 giving separate status to Jammu and Kashmir got abrogated. Previously Article 370 was there, that was given separate status. That's the reason why many laws like Payment of Bonus Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, like that some law when we read, even Contract Act like that, this act is applicable to entire country except to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, like that and all will be coming. So but now every law is by default applicable to Jammu and Kashmir, so that special status has been withdrawn. Consequently, state of Jammu and Kashmir is divided into two union territories. Jammu and Kashmir with state legislature, Ladakh without state legislature. And next, Union Territory of Dadra, Nagar Haveli and Union Territory of Daman and Diu were two separate union territories previously, and now they got merged into one. Got it? Next, see one more illustration below. State which type of GST is levied in the following cases and who shall collect it. Okay. Now, first case, location of supplier Tamil Nadu and place of supply Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Nature of supply intrastate. So what is the type of GST? CGST and SGST. CGST levied and collected by central government. SGST levied and collected by of Tamil Nadu, state government of Tamil Nadu. Then location of supplier Chennai, Tamil Nadu, place of supply Bengaluru, Karnataka. Nature of supply interstate. So the type of GST will be IGST, levied and collected by central government, and 50% sharing is there. Yes. See the place of supply. Place of supply is a state, and 50% shared with Karnataka or state government of Karnataka. 50% shared with state government of Karnataka. Then location of supplier Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and place of supply Pondicherry, Union Territory having partial statehood. Nature of supply is interstate supply. So what is the type of GST? IGST. Here it is levied and collected by central government. Will there be 50% sharing? Yes. And 50% shared with. Why 50% sharing will be there? Because it's a union territory having partial statehood. Due to that reason, 50% shared with Union Territory of Pondicherry. Then number 4, location of supplier Delhi, Union Territory having partial statehood, and place of supply Delhi, Union Territory having partial statehood. Nature of supply intrastate supply. What is the type of GST? CGST and UTGST or SGST? SGST. So CGST by central government, SGST by Union Territory of Delhi. It's not UTGST, SGST only. Then location of supplier Chennai and place of supply is Chandigarh, Union Territory. So what is the nature of supply? Intra or inter? Interstate. IGST. And levied and collected by central government. Will they share or 100% retained? 100% retained. Next, number 6. Location of supplier Chandigarh, Union Territory. Place of supply also Chandigarh, Union Territory. Nature of supply intrastate supply. What is the type of GST? CGST and UTGST. CGST levied and collected by central government. UTGST by central government only, not Union Territory. By central government, because Union Territory is in turn under whose control? Central government's control. Then why there is 2 separate heads? Just for accounting purposes. Everything is expense only, but we divide na salaries, wages, rent, like that we divide, no. So for administratively, so in order to know how much is the contribution made by the Union Territories, they are doing this as a separate accounting head. Okay. Then, so say this, first page you take. So we understood few basic aspects now. See page number 2. Tax is divided into 2, direct tax and indirect tax, correct? And you know the difference. What is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? If you slap a person, if he feels the pain, direct tax. If he in turn slaps the another person and if it continues till the consumer, it is indirect tax, correct or not? So the person who pays the tax in turn transfer the burden to the next person, and ultimate burden is on the consumer. And tax is a major source of revenue to meet the public expenditure. Already we discussed this. And what are the various indirect taxes that we have in the past? Excise, customs, service tax, sales tax, etc. But what are the major indirect taxes at present? Only 2, that is CST and customs duty, majorly these 2. But still there are some state government indirect taxes like state excise duty, still it is there. And then we have local body tax, still it is there. And even I told you stamp duty, that is also there. These are something which is even continuing today with respect to state levies. Okay. And what is a major feature of indirect taxes? Is indirect tax a major source of revenue or direct tax a major source of revenue? Indirect tax, that's the first point. An important and major source of tax revenue to government. Next question, listen carefully. I am a professional and I collect 1 lakh as consulting fees. out of this 1 lakh consulting fees, I will be having expenses. So I will deduct my expenses. So I have got profits and gains of business or profession as 30,000. Now I will pay GST on 1 lakh, but I will pay income tax on 30,000. Isn't there a double taxation? There will be. Both DT and IDT coexist in the same transaction. Just because indirect tax is there, it does not mean you are relieved from direct tax. Just because direct tax is there, it does not mean you are relieved from indirect tax. Take another example. There is a trader who is selling goods. He need to pay GST and he get a profit. On that profit he need to pay income tax. Property, renting he need to pay GST. Plus on rental income he need to pay income tax also. Income from host property. Are you getting this? Same way, I am transferring a capital asset. On sale of capital asset I need to pay GST, and on the capital gain I need to pay income tax. Got it? So is there a possibility of both DT and IDT on the same transaction? Yes. But sometimes there will be only income tax, no indirect tax. Sometimes there will be only indirect tax but no income tax. But generally DT and IDT will be there on every transaction, generally. Sometimes exceptions will be there. Example, on salary there is only income tax but there is no GST. Salaried employee not required to pay GST, only income tax they need to pay. And renting of residential property for residential purpose is exempted under GST, no GST. But income tax, whether it is a residential property given on rent or a commercial property given on rent, you need to pay income tax. You got it? Like these exceptions will be there, but generally both will be. But if you see the difference between these two, in all these examples what I told you is that indirect tax is on the gross, GST is on the gross, but income tax is on the net after reducing the expenses. Is it clear? So see that. So indirect tax is on income or revenue, not on income. Indirect tax is on revenue. Indirect tax is not on income but on revenue from sale of goods or services. What is the difference between revenue and income? Revenue is gross, but income is after reducing the expenses. Okay. Next. In case of indirect tax, liability is on one person, burden is on another person. Agreed? Trader will pay, in turn recover it from the buyer, so the burden is on the buyer. That is the next one. Liability is on one person and burden is on the other person. And where we have more number of taxpayers, income tax or indirect tax? Indirect tax, because the number of percentage of population who is paying income tax is in single digit, hardly 5%. So this big population, what we touch 150 crores, na? 150 crores or more, we are crossing. Actually we surpassed China and all, and we are going, we are number 1 actually. And now in this big population, hardly 5% are paying income tax, but lot of people are paying indirect tax. Many persons are required to pay indirect tax, but they are not required to pay income tax because their income will be less than the exemption limit. So we have basic exemption limit na, maybe their income is less than the basic exemption limit, but the turnover may be high. If you see, so the turnover will be somewhere like 50 lakhs. Turnover will be 50 lakhs. But lot of expenses will be there and 80 deductions and all will be there, because of which they will be getting somewhere like 5 lakhs as the income, net income. After reducing expenses, after reducing your, this interest on borrowed capital, everything also we need to reduce, and even 80, section 80, many deductions are there, na, 80C itself. So after all these things, finally we get some number that is less than 5 lakhs, basic exemption limit. Are we required to pay or we are not required to pay? We are not required to pay anything. Is it clear or not? So, but now we have different schemes. Sometimes it will be like we have na old scheme and new scheme, old regime and new regime. Okay. So because of which it will change, the basic exemption limits and all will change. But what I am trying to convey is that income tax may not be there at all sometimes, but indirect tax will be there. So which means whether indirect tax has the wider tax base? Yes. Wider tax base has more number of people pay indirect tax than direct tax. And in indirect tax, who will have the ultimate burden? Consumer. the ultimate burden is on the consumer. And see the next point, it is regressive in nature and it creates income disparities. But direct tax is progressive in nature. What does it mean? Higher the income, higher the tax payable. But indirect tax is not like that. Whether your income is more or less, you pay the same amount of indirect taxes. Example, if you purchase a biscuit packet, whether a beggar buying biscuit packet or a rich person buying biscuit packet or a middle class buying biscuit packet, all three will pay the same GST on biscuit packet, correct? But income tax is not like that. So if you are grossing some income, you need to pay a higher tax, including the surcharge also you need to pay, correct? So that is progressive, whereas regressive means it will be same on all the people. Is it good or bad? It's bad, because there is like where you are creating the disparity. So on every person you are collecting the same amount. So it is regressive in nature and creates income disparities. Whereas direct tax is progressive, means higher income earners pays higher tax. Regressive means everyone, rich or poor, pays the same amount of tax. Then the last feature of indirect tax is that it promotes social welfare. This is humbug, bullshit point. How indirect tax will promote social welfare? They are telling, as high rates of tax are levied on tobacco products, people will not consume, because of it the social welfare will increase. No, definitely no, not at all. I will not agree with this. But okay, fine, theoretically they have given, we will learn that. Then it's like, you know, on beverages in the sense like this, Coke, Pepsi, etc. You know what is the rate of GST? 28%. You stopped consuming? No. So first they created Pepsi Coke, then they created pizza, burger, so that this Pepsi Coke will get digested. You understood or not? So first Pepsi Coke they introduced, rarely we consume it. But now all the fast foods, along with the fast foods, we are consuming this. So they create a heavy food, only if you drink this you will get digested, otherwise it will not. So like that, amazingly they are making that too. If you see, they divided burger, Domino's only Pepsi company, and if it is like McDonald's, only Coke related products will be there, like that. And 28%, and everyone knows that it is harmful. Yes, are you consuming Coke, Pepsi, etc. and all? Stop it, because it has high sugar levels. High sugar levels, too much of sugar is really harmful. You can consume sugar products like fruits which contain sugar, jaggery, sugar cane, that is okay. But sugar is there now, processed sugar, white sugar, it is so harmful. And these beverages and all will have this sugars only. That's why they say it as carbonated drinks, and that will have lot of impact on your body. That's the reason why people are becoming obese, and that's the reason why people are dying out of heart attack also. Sugar is very bad, okay, stop consuming that. But this much levied, 28% levied, where social welfare is created? There is no social welfare because of the tax rate. That's why I said. You understood this? Maybe it could be tested or it may not be tested, but it is there in the study material. That's why I discussed this with you. Then we have three organs: legislative organ, then executive organ, and judiciary organ under the constitution. What is legislative organ means? What they will do? What legislative organ will do? Will make the law. What executive organ will do? Will implement the law. What judiciary organ will do? If there is any dispute between the executive and the public while implementation of the law, so then that disputes will be rectified or dissolved or redressed by the judiciary organ. So when we say legislative organ, we are referring to parliament, both houses. So upper house and lower house, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And next we are also referring to, in case of executive organ, cabinet, ministry. For example, finance related to tax. What is the ministry? Ministry of Finance. If it is Companies Act, Ministry of Company Affairs, like that, depending upon the law, the respective ministry will be applicable. They are called as executive organ. Judiciary organ means courts, that is Supreme Court, High Court, district courts, tribunals, that will be coming under judiciary organ. Okay. Next, this how an act will come into existence, this and all is not required, but we need to understand the difference between two aspects, bill and act. What is bill and what is act? First, they present a draft in the parliament for discussion, that is known as bill. Once it gets approved, it will be called as act. Got it? So first they will create a law, and that is like a draft. The draft will be given in both the houses for circulation. They can discuss and debate whether it is required, not required, etc. and all, and finally they approve. Once the president approves, both the houses will approve and send it to the president. The president, when he signs, this will become act. Okay, that is this. Then this already we discussed, overview of major indirect taxes, and look into the next page, milestones in implementation of GST in India. So we have to remember few periods. So who implemented or who gave the advice of implementation of GST in India? Dr. Kelkar Task Force. Who recommended implementation of GST? Underline. Dr. Kelkar Task Force. Dr. Kelkar Task Force. They recommended. And when bill was presented in the constitution for bringing GST, why constitutional amendment is required for bringing GST? Sir, until 2017, that is before this GST implementation, central government used to collect some taxes, state government used to collect some taxes. Now both the governments will be parallel levying, which means a constitutional amendment is required. So when the constitutional amendment bill was presented, see that 2014 bill got presented, constitutional amendment bill. The bill got presented in 2014, and when the act came, Constitutional Amendment Act, we will think 2017. No, it is 2016. 2016 only the Constitutional Amendment Act has taken place. Is it clear? And in 2017, 17/2017, GST is implemented across the country. So this is what you need to remember. Who recommended? Dr. Kelkar Task Force. For MCQs it will be useful here. And what is the year of Constitutional Amendment Bill? 16 or 14? 14. Constitutional Amendment Act is 2016. GST Act is 2017. Effective date of implementation is 1/7/2017. Then, whether India is the first country in the globe to implement GST? No. France. France became the first country to implement GST. Underline that. France is the first country to implement GST. And there are many countries which already implemented GST, like 160 countries, then only we have implemented. So we cannot say we are first in implementation of GST and all. And next, how many GST acts do we have? So CGST is levied by central government. So central government, we have only one central government. So therefore one CGST Act. And who will be levying IGST? Central government. So again one central government. So one IGST Act. And again UTGST is levied by central government. So that's why one UTGST Act for 5 union territories together. Now who will levy SGST? State government. How many state governments do we have? How many state governments do we have? 28. 28 states. Previously 29. Previously 29, because this Andhra Pradesh got separated into AP and Telangana, 29, and Jammu and Kashmir so became union territory. That's how the states became 28, and 3 union territories are given partial statehood. What are they? Pondicherry, Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir. So 28 plus 3, that will be 31. So 31 SGST acts will be there. Is it clear? How many SGST acts? 31 SGST acts. Got it? Then, what is goods and services tax? Basically, goods and services tax is a value added tax. It is also a value added tax. Why goods and services tax is called as a value added tax. What is the reason behind calling this as value added tax? So it's a value added tax. Why is it called as a value added tax? See this. In GST, there is a concept of input tax credit. Okay, there is a concept of input tax credit, and we will try to understand what is that input tax credit all about. Carefully listen. There is a trader. This trader is having some inward supplies. Inward supplies means what? Purchases. This trader is making some purchases, and using that purchases, the trader is making sales. At the time when he purchased, he need to make some payment to the supplier, correct? So there is a supplier, and to that supplier, the payment is made by the trader, and say it is rupees 1 lakh plus 12% GST. And again, when the sales is made to customer, the trader will get from the customer some price plus GST, say 1,50,000 plus 18% GST. Okay, or in other words, let me keep the same rate of GST, so 12% GST. Now, what is the tax on purchases? What is the tax on purchases? Come on. 12,000. The tax on purchase is 12,000, which is called as input tax. So what is the input tax? 12,000. Tax on input. Purchase. Purchase is input. Tax on input is 12,000. What is the tax on output? Output tax. Output tax, that is 18,000. Output tax is 18,000. Now, this 12,000 will be set off against this 18,000, correct? So that the remaining amount is what they will be paying to government. So that is the system of input tax credit. So this input tax can be taken as credit and set off against the output tax payable. Set off against output tax payable. 1 second. Set off against output tax payable. So this input tax will be set off against output tax payable. So what is the net tax? The net tax will be 6,000. You know what is the logic of this 6,000? See the value addition of the trader. What is the value addition of trader? What is the value addition of trader? 1,50,000 and 1,50,000 is the value addition, correct? And what is the value added tax? On that value added, what is the tax? 50,000 into 12%, that is 6,000, which is nothing but this 6,000. You understood? Got it? That's the reason why GST is called as a value added tax. Can I repeat again? Listen carefully. There is a trader who is making some sales to the customer, and the customer will pay some 1,50,000 plus 12%. That 12% on 1,50,000 is the output tax, and he is making some purchases. When he is making some purchases, he will make the payment to the supplier, that is 1 lakh plus 12% GST. So the input tax will be 12,000. Under the GST system, what we can do? So tax that is paid on input can be set off against tax payable on output. So which means the net tax is only payable to government, because already he paid 12,000 at the time of purchase to the supplier. So the supplier would have already paid to government. Is it clear or not? The supplier would have already paid to government. So this 12,000 will be like a recoverable, receivable amount. That will be set off against the GST payable on outward supply liability. So this 12,000 will be set off against the liability. So net amount that they are paying is only 6,000. The logic of the 6,000 is nothing but they are making a value addition. How much profit they are creating or how much value addition they are making? 50,000. Not profit, value addition. So value addition is different from profit, because in value addition there will be gross. Profit means it will be net. There are many things in value addition. Got it? So value addition means how much is the incremental incremental revenue. What is the incremental revenue? 50,000. On that 50,000 GST rate 12%, they will be 6,000. That's how they are paying. That's why GST is called as value added tax. Is it clear? Now, here, what is the meaning of input tax credit? The tax paid on purchases. What is the tax paid on purchases? 12,000 is taken as credit and set off against the tax payable on sales. Okay, that's the system. Got it? Now, this sales and purchases are like normal words. We will replace this with the legal terminology. So, purchases is called as inward supplies. Purchase is called as inward supplies. And sales is called as outward supplies. Okay? Purchase is called as inward supplies, sales is called as outward supplies. And this set off is actually a normal word. Legally, it will be called as utilized. Utilized. Input tax utilized for payment of output tax. Okay. And first they need to recognize this input tax. To recognize this input tax, we call it as ITC availed. Input tax credit. Input tax credit availed. Availed means recognized in the returns or recognized in the books. That is called as input tax credit availed. ITC availed, utilized for payment of output tax on outward supplies. Okay. So quickly make note of this chart in your notebook. We will see some journal entries also to know how it will be applied, okay, in accounting. Okay. Now say this. So write down what is the meaning of input tax credit. Input tax credit refers to input tax credit refers to GST paid on inward supplies, GST paid on inward supplies that can be availed and utilized for payment of GST on outward supplies. Listen, there is a simple logic here. How much I am collecting as GST from my customer? 18,000. In that, what I have already paid at the time of purchase? So 12,000 recovered. Now what is left? That I am giving to government. Understood the logic? So it's nothing like recovery of my investment. Already I paid at the time of purchase. Now I am recovering that. So remaining amount only I pay to government. That's how the credit system works. You got it? It is as good as at the time of purchase, you have purchased one mobile phone and you got a voucher. You purchased a mobile phone and you got a voucher, and the purchase price of the mobile phone is 10,000 and the voucher is 1,000. What is your net cost? You spent 10,000 but you got a voucher of 1,000. So what is your net cost? 9,000. What you can do with this 1,000 rupees? In future you have to buy anything? No. At that time you can make use of this 1,000 rupees voucher and you can buy something. You got it? So it is like nothing but a voucher, a gift voucher kind of, which will be adjusted against our future liability. Okay. Now, what is the journal entry for purchase in this case? How much they paid? 11 lakh, like 1,12,000 they paid, correct? 1,12,000. In this 1,12,000, how much will be recorded as purchases in our books? 1 lakh. Only 1 lakh will be recorded as purchase in our books, and the 12,000 will be recorded as what? Input tax credit. That's an asset. It will be recorded as input tax credit, and then the total amount will be to supplier, because creditor we need to make the payment to them na. So to supplier. So see this journal entry for purchases. Purchases account debit. Purchases account debit. How much? 1 lakh. Input tax credit account debit is 12,000. To supplier account, 1,12,000. Is it clear? Purchase account debit 1 lakh, ITC account debit 12,000, to supplier account 1,12,000. And this ITC is recognized as an asset, current asset. This is recognized as a current asset. We have an asset because it is recoverable na, and usually asset shows what balance? Debit balance. Then again, what is the entry for making sales entry? Recipient account debit. Recipient account debit. How much? 1,50,000 plus 18,000, 1,68,000. We record 1,68,000 because that is also recoverable from him na. To sales, how much we show as sales? To sales. To sales account will be only 1 lakh. And to GST payable account, what is the GST payable account? 18,000. So this GST payable is our current liability. and liability shows credit balance. Are you understanding here? Now what we do the set off. So liability we need to cancel. So when we need to cancel the liability, what is the entry? GST payable account debit. GST payable account debit 18,000 to ITC account. So we are reducing the ITC. How much is the ITC account? 12,000, and to bank, that is payment. How much? 6,000. Is it clear? GST payable account debit 18,000, to ITC account 12,000, to bank 6,000. So this 6,000 is nothing but net liability. Got it? So we set off the current asset with the current liability, and the net liability is only 6,000. Understood through accounting how it will work? We have to. We should bifurcate between CGST, SGST and all, but I am just giving you the total. But that we will do like CGST receivable account, SGST receivable account and IGST, ITC. So we have to put it like headwise, okay? But overall bird's eye view, I am just telling you total what we will do, okay? Done? So now you understood now why GST is a value added tax, because we pay tax on value addition. Then, so tax is levied only on the value addition in case of manufacture, sale, service or any combination of above. And there is continuous chain of tax credits. Am I right? What is continuous chain of tax credits? Just now we saw, first a person will pay, in turn recover it from the next person, that next person will take this as credit and set off against the further liability. Manufacturer will pay, collect it from wholesaler. Wholesaler will take ITC and set off against sale to retailer. Retailer again take ITC and set off against the sale made to the customer. Like that it will be continuous chain of credits. Tax paid at every stage is available as credit to set off against tax payable at a later stage throughout the supply chain until the product reaches the consumer. Can the consumer take ITC? No, consumer cannot take ITC. And who will have the final burden? So the final burden is on the consumer. The final burden is on the consumer. Only final consumer bears GST as set off benefit available to everyone in the supply chain. And it eliminates cascading effect of taxes. How come it will eliminate cascading effect of taxes? Because if you see, there is no tax on tax. Agreed? How there is no tax on tax? So already we paid at the time of purchase 12,000, that is not added to the cost. So we take cost only 1 lakh. If the 12,000 is added to purchases, then the sales will get inflated by 12,000. Again we would have computed tax on tax. That cascading effect is not there. There is no tax on tax. Also, the same amount is not getting taxed more than once. Even though 1 lakh is included in 1 lakh 50, but it is not again getting taxed because we get the credit system. Is it clear? So there is no tax on tax, as GST charged only on the value addition, and both goods and service are taxed at GST instead of multiplicity of taxes. So this is about GST. What is the meaning of, what is GST? Goods and services tax. And taxes subsumed into GST already we discussed, and dual GST model discussed. How GST is a cure for ills of existing indirect tax regime. In the existing indirect tax regime, credit was not available at all stages. After manufacturing stage, the credit was not available. But in GST, till it reaches the sale, consumer, till it reaches the sale to consumer, the credit is there. And non-availability of CST paid on interstate purchase as credit, but now IGST also can be taken as credit. So like this, there are certain ills in the existing system, and GST is a cure. You don't have to bother about that because you are going to learn only GST. You don't know what was the existing system, so that's why this will not be tested for you. And this we have already discussed. What is the meaning of intrastate supply and interstate supply? Then types of GST we have discussed. And on import and export, what is the type of GST that is applicable? Intrastate, interstate, okay. Import and export, what is the GST? Whether CGST, SGST or IGST, we need to pay IGST. Why like that? Because import and export is deemed to be interstate. Always deemed to be interstate. So what is the type of GST that will be applicable? IGST. So say this, there is a person in foreign territory who is bringing goods to state 1. As there is an import, the type of GST will be IGST. Again within state 1, it is intrastate, so the GST will be CGST, SGST. State 1 to state 2, inter, IGST. Again within state 2, CGST, SGST. Again state 2 to union territory, inter. So IGST. Within union territory, CGST, GGST. From union territory to foreign territory, export, that will be IGST. So you can remember on import and export, the type of GST applicable will be IGST. But sir, import of goods is covered under customs na? Yes. And that's where I told you, instead of additional customs duties, we pay IGST. Okay. So you remember the type of GST that is applicable in case of import and export is IGST. Then this already we discussed, conversion of state of Jammu and Kashmir, and these two illustrations. And we have imports and exports versus GST. This and the other aspects that we will see in the next class. Okay. So today little major portion we have discussed, and in tomorrow's class we will try to complete this. Even introduction to input tax credit also we have discussed. Here I have given already that system of credit in indirect taxes. This only we have made note in the book. What is the system of credit in indirect taxes? Fine. So tomorrow we will complete introduction to GST, and next class we will be starting with segment 2, that is supply under GST. Fine. Thank you.